Hello everybody. I thought I would continue my little Gurdjieff shows, and today I wanted to talk about something that I keep bringing up, reciprocal maintenance. So I thought I'd do some quotes about reciprocal maintenance. I'm going to start with John Godolphin Bennett, and some of you might have watched the shows where I've been talking to Tony Blake about his time with John Godolphin Bennett. So J.G. Bennett had been with Gurdjieff. Went to Ouspensky as well. He knew Gurdjieff when he was a young man, went off traveling, met other people, went to Ouspensky and studied with Ouspensky for many years. And when Ouspensky died, he went back to Gurdjieff and was with him for his last few years. So, you know, I think Bennett writes wonderful books about the work and seems to have really good understanding of it. Obviously, he was there at the source of it all, so his quotes are very important. I'm rereading his book Transformation at the moment, and when you reread a book, it's amazing what you've missed last time or what springs out at you this time. It's just a fantastic book to read, and Tony was saying about that in the last show we did together. Me and Tony Blake did a show just a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to thank everybody for watching these shows. You know, we just want to get out there what it is you can do with the work, and hopefully it helps you and you help us with your quotes and your comments. And you know, I just want to thank you all anyway. I shall start with a J.G. Bennett quote, and this is from his book Making a New World, which I've dropped over there and I can't be bothered to go and pick up, but I've written down this quote. The mystery of reciprocal maintenance. This is the key to a new and satisfying view of human life on the earth. And this quote also jumped out at me because in the Q&A that I did recently with Josh Denny, someone was asking, what is the keys to Beelzebub's towers? Well, one of the big major keys to understand is the reciprocal maintenance. So I shall continue with this quote. So the mystery of reciprocal maintenance. This is the key to a new and satisfying view of human life on the earth. If we can accept it, we have a touchstone by which all activities, great and small, can be evaluated. We can fulfill a threefold purpose by our own will and acts. We save ourselves, we help mankind in its evolution, and we lighten the sufferings of our Creator. So everything's threefold, law of three, but it does help with your understandings of the work, if you can get to grips with the reciprocal maintenance of the whole universe and how everything's working all together. Everything eats everything else, everything eats each other, everything makes other things work. You know, like all the energies you create in whatever way you're thinking, feeling, doing, has an impact on something else, which is why we want to try and create, you know, the higher vibrations. You know, if we're doing the lower ones, then we're putting out lower vibrations, which will make an effect to other things, and it will roll on and on and on. But if we can do the higher vibrations and work on ourselves and become harmonized or harmonious, then we are working towards this suffering of the Creator, the endlessness, his endlessness. And again, I recommend you have to read Beelzebub's Tales to hear all about this and what this is about. Perhaps look at the Time show I did, because that discusses it. So an important quote from J.G. Bennett. Now, lots of quotes from All and Everything. Let me get that book. So I've got my pages here. So from Beelzebub's Towers about reciprocal maintenance. So page 121. That period in the course of which their planet, during its movement, during the processes of falling and catching up, makes a Crentonalian revolution in relation to its sun. So all the planets are going around our sun in our solar system, creating energies that are all part of the reciprocal maintenance of the whole universe, which is obviously the universe is much bigger than we can ever imagine. It's beyond, you know, thinking about, but it's still good to think about, because as we're doing our working on it, so it's not just us that need to do our work. The whole planet and the universes are all doing their bit to keep you know, Mars is going round, Jupiter's going round, Uranus is going round, all creating certain energies that are making certain energy impulses coming out of our solar system, working on our sun, making all the planets develop to their next stage, but also going out further into the next solar system, whatever it is, it's further out, all the way up through the worlds and planets that Gurdjieff and Ouspensky talk about, on to the final destination of the sun absolute, where his endlessness lives. And the closer we get to there, then the less the laws are that are working on them, where we have many laws working on us because we're further away. And this is all part of that reciprocal maintenance going on throughout the universe. Everything needs to be harmonious to work for the sufferings of his creator, his endlessness. And Gurdjieff writes on page 198, God forgives everything, but his creations, in this case people, must not abuse this all-gracious and everywhere penetrating goodness of his. They must not only care for, but even maintain all he has created. We're supposed to be maintaining this earth, or the life that's living on it, or the animals, the plants, the waters, the rivers, the fish, the insects, the birds that fly. We should be looking after them and working with them, not destroying them, and not, I don't know whether we should be using them for food, clothing. I'm against cruelty to animals. I don't like the way slaughterhouses are. I've said all this before in other shows. You know, we need to find a more humane way of finding our meat, but then we can go and eat other things. But I hear the vegetables and the plants scream when we cut into them, and the trees scream when we cut them down. So it's very difficult. Where do we draw a line? But it's how we work with them, how we use them. Do we give these animals a good life? Are we needlessly slaughtering animals for, things that we don't really need? Are we also polluting? Well, we are. We know we're polluting the seas with all our plastics and everything. You know the story. We need to look after the planet better so that we can look after all life on Earth, and all life in the universe then gets affected by it. All the energies that are going out from our planet, are they screaming, help us, because the humans are polluting our poor planet? So there's negative energies going out, when really if we lived in a more harmonious world where everything was living side by side and working together, then we would be sending out better vibrations. I'm not saying that we can't fish and we can't eat animals, or I don't know, Gurdjieff does say that we shouldn't be eating the animals, but if we need to eat meat, we should be doing it in a more humane way. We should be looking after all life. We shouldn't be going and hunting animals for the fun of it. That needs to stop. That's all just bad vibes. Well, so I think, I'm sure that's what Gurdjieff thought as well, but hey, I didn't meet him. I'm going to carry on with all and everything. So on page 386 of All and Everything, the conscious striving to know ever more and more concerning the laws of world creation and world maintenance. And this is one of the major things he talks about, the Obligonian strivings. We need to understand ourselves, we need to understand everybody else, but we need to understand how our world works. And our ecosystem is very important to how our planet runs. As many of you know, we need to look after everything, as I've been saying. And not in a way that we're going out there in a military tactic. We need to do it with open-heartedness, compassion, and a conscious understanding of what we're doing. A conscious understanding with our conscience. So All and Everything, page 750. Those two fundamental sacred cosmic laws, by which at the present time also the whole of our present megalocosmos is maintained, and on the basis of which it exists, and namely on the basis of those two fundamental primordial sacred cosmic laws called the sacred Heptapara and the sacred Triamazikamno. Everybody remember what they are? The law of 7 and the law of 3. If we can get to grips with them two laws, then we will understand how reciprocal maintenance works and how everything else is beginning to work, or does work. We need to have an understanding of it all. So we've got the law of three: wholly affirming, wholly denying, wholly reconciling, transubstantiating me from my being. Law of seven is a bit more complicated. You know, perhaps go and check out the Enneagram show I did with Joshua. But when you're reading Beelzebub's Tales, he explains it in the chapters that it's relevant to, though it's throughout the books as well. You know, and again, I strive to tell you this: go and read the books. I'm sure many of you are. I hope you are. But the answers are in the books. But we do need to know these two laws to understand how all the other laws work. And you'll probably be noticing from doing, you know, working on yourself and things, that the law of three does seem to pop up in your life. And the more you're working on yourself, the more you become attuned to what's going on and see how things are happening. So continuing on the same chapter, page 762, in each of these tetocosmoses, the possibility appeared of independent automatic movement from one place to another on the surface of the given planets. When our common father endlessness and ascertained this automatic moving of theirs, there then arose for the first time in him the divine idea of making use of it as a help for himself in the administration of the enlarging world. So the divine source, his endlessness, looks down upon what everyone else is doing as well on all these other planets, and how we're making use and being creative of the laws. And it helps with this reciprocal maintenance going on. So he needs us partaking in this. And I've said in other shows about how, you know, I kind of described it like we can be like the good bacteria or the bad bacteria in the system, in the whole of the universe. You know, are we sending out the right good vibrations, being the good bacteria, helping it do the right thing? Or are we creating bad vibrations in ourselves that are sending out the wrong vibrations and causing chaos rather than harmony? So further on in All and Everything, so we're going now to pages 1094, 1094. In all probability, there exists in the world some law of the reciprocal maintenance of everything existing. Obviously, our lives serve also for maintaining something great or small in the world. There exists in the world, without any doubt, a law of the reciprocal maintenance of everything that exists, and that for this maintenance, certain chemical substances also serve, with the help of which the process of the spiritualization of beings, that is to say, life, is carried out. We want to live, we want to be alive, we want to be awake, and we can become that, as he says in the title of his last book, life is only real when I am. So life is only real when you are real, when you're living, when you're awake, when you're working on yourself. And you know, the more you develop yourself, the more you live your life. And that's what we want to do, live our lives, but so that we're being the good bacteria, sending out to the universe the right vibes. And continuing on that page, I forgot to write down who he's talking about, but then go and read this chapter to see which character this is about. He failed to understand what was most important, namely that the vibrations required by nature, which have to be formed from the radiations issuing from beings both during their existence as well as from their process of their raskuanu, have no significance quantitatively, but only qualitatively. It's all about quality, not quantity. It's not how much there is there. It's what the quality of it is, how high the vibration it is, what's the fineness of it, the wealth of inside them vibrations that you're creating. And just to remind people, Raskuanu is your death. You know, even when you die, the vibrations you're putting forward will affect the universe and affect where you're going. Whether you've made your Keshjan body, see them shows on that, or whether you're caught up in the cycle of coming back again, or have you been so bad that you're never ever going to exist again? But I'm sure them kind of people aren't watching my shows because they're not interested in this kind of thing. He does talk about this in All and Everything. I'm trying to remember what it comes to the top of my head, but it's very interesting where he talks about not everybody survives death or goes on to the next stage, because if you're really, really evil, you disappear forever, no return. So, All and Everything, page 1105, 1105. When the free brain beings there were already existing more or less as is becoming to free brain beings, and when the radiations issuing from them were yielding vibrations more akin to the vibrations required from them by nature, both for the most great common cosmic trogo auto egocrat in general, and for the maintenance of the moon and Ananias in particular, then ... leaving you to go and find out the answer to that one. But with this, if we were living in a more harmonious way, then this planet would not be suffering like it is. We would be living with the universe, with the world, with Earth, with nature, with each other. I know some people say living like that, the paradise is unattainable. It is there. People, I think, use that as an excuse for their not having to put any effort in. You know, people say we need the balance of good and bad. Well, if we're living harmoniously, the vibrations are totally different to how it is. You know, probably beyond what we can even imagine, because none of us have ever lived in that kind of world, so we don't know what it'd be like. Something to ponder on then. And I'm going to finish with another J.G. Bennett quote. One of the most extraordinary steps in Gurdjieff's presentation, I am not aware of it having been taught before, indications are in Zoroaster and Pythagoras, nor that it is being taught at the present time in any other tradition. What does matter is that it should be known now, and that we should be able to see it for ourselves. The doctrine of reciprocal maintenance. Everything that exists in the universe depends on other things for its maintenance and must, in its turn, maintain the existence of others. This applies to us men also. We depend on other forms of existence, on the materials of the Earth's surface, the heat and light from the sun, and upon other things that we do not know about. The world is a mystery. So I'm just interjecting there. The world is a mystery. The universe is a mystery. The divine source's ways is a mystery. And if we want to find the answers, we need to work on ourselves and develop ourselves, because the answers will then start coming. And we learn bit by bit. Continuing the quote. Right then, this applies to us men also. We depend on other forms of existence, on the materials of the Earth's surface, the heat and light from the sun, and upon other things that we do not know about. Most of all, we depend upon life. We are an integral part of the life on this earth, and we cannot isolate ourselves from it. If we depend upon so much for our existence, what have we to give in return? What is required of us? Hopefully you're working that out and you're doing what is required. So till next time, peace and love to you all. Thank you for watching all these shows. Do appreciate it, and I appreciate your comments, and I'd like to hear from you all, whether it's by email, comments below, whatever. It's really great to hear from you. Thank you. Until next time.